Lou. So I've been an entrepreneur since 2011. I was in the pharmaceutical industry for 27 years. I was in sales. I was laid off and then ended up in entrepreneurship because I was too old and too expensive to be hired by another drug company. Little did I know that this entrepreneurial journey was going to be the path to finding my true life's passion and how I can make impact in the world. And since 2011, I have written 2 books so far, with more on the way. The first book, called How to Permanently Erase Negative Self-Talk So You Could Be Extraordinary. This was published in 2015. And then the second book I wrote that was published in October 2020 is called CLIMAX, Why Great Leaders Need Love Affairs. It's an enlightening leadership fable inspired by a difficult journey I had professionally and personally. So both of these books talk about the internal family systems framework of how to really permanently emotionally heal and also get to know yourself and have compassion for others. So this is really a framework to help to understand ourselves and also other people. And I have been using this model to coach and heal clients for many years now, and it's extremely effective. I've also been in IFS therapy myself to understand my parts and how they show up on a day-to-day basis and why they get triggered and how do I apologize for these parts of me that sometimes go wonky.
Yes, it's a really key thread to this entire relationship.
Yes, because so many people are at a place in their life where their intimate partnerships are not where they want it to be, at that highest level of fulfillment, spiritually, intellectually, emotionally, and physically. I felt compelled to write this book because of my own journey of getting divorced and dating. So I was married to a very good man for 27 years. We have been together for 30, and I was divorced in 2017. Then in 2019, I embarked on a journey of dating lots of different people. That journey, along with me bumping into a Harvard-trained psychiatrist outside of a Whole Foods market, Dr. Percy and I ended up starting a YouTube channel where we made 40 videos on great love and sex through IFS, the Internal Family Systems model. So in my friendship with Percy, I really began to understand the depth of what sacred sexuality is, what Tantra is, how to use masculine and feminine energies in order to create polarity and attraction and intense sexual experiences. So it was a combination of a number of things that led me to a twist and turn journey where a couple of years ago, I got the aha that, oh my goodness, I am supposed to teach in this very narrow niche of helping people to get their love and relationships right at the most intimate level, because it's my own journey that I've been trying to get right, of finding a really deep and satisfying and nourishing partnership. Most of these men just couldn't meet me where I was. But I knew that if I existed, there's somebody out there for me that is an equivalent of me who is sovereign and evolved and can hold space for difficult conversations. And this is where Jim came along, and we met the old-fashioned way through a dating app. It was Match. And instantly we had chemistry on the first Zoom call, which was a 3-hour Zoom date, during COVID. And then we began to see each other, and that's my story of my journey of leaving a marriage, divorcing, and dating different men so that I could gather data about how many men are wounded and not healed. It's not because it's their fault, we're all wounded, but in order to have a thriving, intimate relationship, all of us have to do the work. And so everything I wrote down about what I wanted in a partner, and Jim met many of those criterias and beyond. And so it was quite the shock to meet someone like Jim and for us to build so much intimacy on all levels really, really quickly.
Yeah, so let me tell you a little bit about me. And I always find it interesting when people talk about themselves and who they are, they start by talking about what they do for work. And it's such a big part of who we are. And I'll give you the thumbnail sketch from my point of view. But then I want to share some other more intimate things with you as well. So first, I graduated from Brown with an electrical engineering degree, and then later from Harvard Business School with an MBA, and was really privileged to work in some very fast-paced, high-growth technology areas. I was a marketing executive for 40 years, and in fact, just retired in January of 2021. So now I'm on the second phase of adventure. But in that primary career, I really had the opportunity to lead amazing teams and build products that really help shape the way we live today. It's just been a real privilege working with amazing people. So here I am about to launch into this new adventure together with this wonderful woman. And how lucky am I, right? So I count my blessings there. So a little bit more about my relationship history. I was married twice to two wonderful women. Both of those marriages ended in divorce. 2 kids by the first marriage who are launched now off on their own and successful in their own right. And I also am really thrilled that I have 2 grandchildren, 2 grandsons that I absolutely adore. And have been dating for roughly 7 years on and off. Had several longer-term relationships along the way. And was dating recently and managed to enter into a conversation with this beautiful woman, which I'm thrilled about. We can tell you more about the whole thing now, I guess.
You didn't even want to talk to me because in my profile I wrote that if you have to have animals in your house, it would not be a right fit because I didn't grow up with animals.
I love dogs. And so when Emily reached out to me, so she reached out to me first. And
he has such a phenomenal profile.
Yeah, what was it about my profile? It was
just so detailed, so articulate. It was so well written, which is very rare to read in a man's profile. Somebody who could actually communicate through the written word. And when somebody can write, it's a turn on.
Yeah, that's so true. So I was drawn into, her photos, as you can imagine, were absolutely stunning. And I was drawn into reading her profile. So that's the order that I approach it in. Look at the pictures first, and then if they're interesting, then I'll read the woman's profile. So Emily's was unbelievably well written, as you might expect, and I was just totally impressed. But I got to the last line of her profile, and it said this thing about, if you have to have a furry critter in your life or something like that, then we're not a match. So I wrote back, when Emily reached out to me, she messaged me through the app. I wrote back and said, you look absolutely amazing, except for this one fly in the ointment, and that is that I love dogs. And so I don't think we're a match. What did you say?
I don't even remember what I said. I wish we had screenshotted it.
Yeah, you basically said, well, why don't we just get together anyway?
On Zoom.
On Zoom.
Just get to know each other because I find you so interesting.
Right. And I said, what the heck? Gorgeous woman wants to get to know me, I don't want to miss the opportunity just to get to know her. So that we arranged for a Zoom date, and that went really well. What do you remember about the Zoom date?
Well, Jim's smile is just like 1,000 watts, which I rarely see in men's profiles. So as soon as he opened his mouth on Zoom, oh my God, his smile and his energy matched his pictures, because all of his pictures had smiles in it, and so I was attracted to that light, and I was also attracted to his accomplishments and the fact that he is so well educated. I have an Ivy League degree also, and I study nutrition, and I've met some pretty well educated men, but because Jim had double Ivy League degrees and has had a track record of success and has had so many accomplishments and also so many interesting hobbies, such as competitive ballroom dancing. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? All I wanted was somebody who can dance, because that was something I didn't experience in my previous relationships. And
this seems to be a big thing with women.
So many women,
so many women are looking for men who know how to dance or want to learn how to dance. And I put that on my profile, and I got a lot of interest I was a competitive ballroom dancer. I have taught ballroom dancing. I learned to dance when I lived in Puerto Rico in high school and loved dancing ever since. It's been a real passion of mine from the beginning. But as Emily said, one of my challenges is that I have so many different interests. And, as having worked all my life, I really never had the opportunity to pursue many of them. I guess I've been accused of being a Renaissance man. I'm not sure I buy that, but...
He is a Renaissance man. Master woodworker, he's a sailor and tennis player and many other things.
Yeah, there's like a dozen things, but
and he
won't
also
bore you
gives
with that.
phenomenal massages.
Oh, well, there you go. There's another thing I should have put on my profile, I guess. Oh, this is really important. So I've been seeing a therapist for a number of years, and this is something that tends to be a difficult thing with men in particular. We are constantly bombarded with the messages about masculinity and man up and deal with it yourself. If you need help or ask for help, it's a sign of weakness. And nothing could be further from the truth from my point of view. So, and through this therapy, I think that I've become a much more self-aware and confident and emotionally intelligent man. And I think that's what manhood is really about. It's not about sort of sucking it up and denying that there's a problem. So I've been, the benefactor of many years now of therapy. And as luck would have it, it's IFS therapy that I've been doing. And we can tell you more about what that's all about, but it's proven to be a real boon to our relationship and the way that we can communicate around difficult topics. Because IFS is basically a framework that allows you to talk about the parts within you as opposed to attaching your identity to behaviors that you have done that you might not be proud of. So it allows me to talk to Emily about there's a part within me that is feeling this or that did this, and I'm not happy about that, but this part had that behavior for reasons. And the IFS framework allows us to delve into what's really behind that behavior. What is it that is the motivation of that part? What is that part fearing? What is that part trying to achieve? And really have a conversation separately about the components that make up us as a whole. And that removal, that separation of higher self from one of my parts allows us to have a conversation about that part rather than about me. So that allows me a lot more comfort and freedom and safety in having very vulnerable conversations.
So the way he loves me, it's an out of this world experience, and I've never experienced someone with such unconditional love for me and appreciation, and it's truly a gift. And all of these other men I dated prepared me to experience someone like Jim, just who he is, and so this is why we want to share our experience and our journey of how we built this insane intensity and intimacy in such a short time, and realizing that, oh my gosh, we are meant to be business partners. And I said, it's like, you are needed, Jim. You are needed in my life for me to make impact in the world.
It's been such an honor and so much fun, honestly, just sort of digging in here and helping where I can.
Yeah, so that's our story. And I think the main point we want to drive home is that we have built a level of insane intimacy in probably the quickest amount of time that any two people can go through, because we have used the internal family systems, the phenomenal evidence-based framework of speaking for our parts, speaking for our triggers, and holding space and not judging. And the more he did that, and the more we navigated our hiccups, I just knew that
Right.
he is a very special
It's
man.
to the point now where, I know if there's a difficult conversation to be had, that we can get through it. And, it doesn't matter what it's about at this point. And we've gotten to a level of transparency and and honesty that just, it's so rare, I think, to be able to do this and to be able to sustain it.
So that's our story.
Hope this video has been helpful. It's been a blast, and I hope that you enjoyed listening to us.
Okay, see ya.
Bye-bye.